In a surprise to absolutely nobody, yesterday Arsenal made our first official signing of the summer by making David Raya's loan move a permanent one for just £27 million from Brentford. And like I said, this shouldn't come as a surprise to absolutely anyone. The moment we got him on a loan deal with an option to buy last summer, despite having one of the better keepers in the Premier League in Aaron Ramsdale just extend his contract at the club, you could tell immediately that something was up. And although Arteta was very adamant through all of his press conferences and interviews, and at the beginning of the season that the goalkeeper position would be a continuous battle with even potentially goalkeepers substitutes mid-game, which I thought we all could know was completely false and just absolutely ridiculous. We then saw Ramsdale play the first handful of Premier League games, including a good 3-1 win against Manchester United, where Declan Rice scored his first goal for Arsenal and Jesus scored that absolute banger. But after that game, we had an international break, and after the international break, we saw in Goodison Park against Everton, David Raya get his first start, his first appearance for Arsenal, keeping a clean sheet, seeing us win 1-0. And since that game, David Raya has never looked back, being the clear-cut cemented in #1 for the entire season, seeing Ramsdale being almost always glued to the bench. And I remember saying that when this transfer happened that it didn't really make sense to me because Raya was not worlds better than Ramsdale. Raya still had his flaws and his lapses of judgment, the same as Ramsdale. And overall, the transfer to me it didn't make sense, and I was team Ramsdale all the way. But now with Ramsdale looking on his way out, Raya putting together the season that he did, and now Raya being a confirmed permanent signing for Arsenal, I want to take this video to apologize to Arsenal, to Mikel Arteta, to David Raya for doubting them, for doubting this transfer. And I also want to take this video to explain to you why David Raya is so good despite so many people, including some Arsenal fans, thinking he is overrated. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Gunner Central here. I hope you're all doing well. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, one of the major issues that people have with David Raya and what he showed last season in this Arsenal team is that despite winning the Golden Glove, keeping 16 clean sheets in 32 games, meaning that in 50% of the games he played for Arsenal in the Premier League, he kept a clean sheet, and only conceding 24 goals in 32 games. He wasn't really ever called into action, being that he was behind arguably the best defense in the Premier League, and again, arguably one of, if not the best defenses in all of Europe last season. David Raya only faced 70 shots last season in the Premier League. He conceded 3.1 goals more than expected goals suggested he should have in the Premier League. So on the shot stopping front, he has had a lot of criticism, and probably rightfully so. And despite me apologizing to David Raya, making this a David Raya praising video, I would have to say that he isn't better than Ramsdale as a pure shot stopping goalkeeper. I would say that they are about the same level as a shot stopping goalkeeper. You could even potentially make the argument that Ramsdale is slightly better than David Raya as a pure shot-stopping goalkeeper. But everything else as a goalkeeper, because a goalkeeper's job is not only to stop shots, but everything else that David Raya does, in my opinion, is far better than what Ramsdale does. As far as distribution, to me, Raya is far better than Ramsdale. Now, he seems to be always more calm on the ball, and off the eye test alone, with absolutely no stats to back this up, to me, David Raya seems a lot more accurate and a lot more calm on the ball than Aaron Ramsdale is. But then when you take a look at the stats, well, the stats would back up that exact claim that I just made. Comparing last season with David Raya and the season before and Ramsdale, Raya had 7.4% higher on pass accuracy. Raya completed 5 more accurate long balls than Ramsdale did in 6 less games. And Raya was 6.3% higher than Ramsdale in long ball accuracy. And now I know to you guys, those percentages seem very, very small, and I get that. But if you think about it, in the course of a full season in the Premier League, it makes a huge difference. And those 6.3%, 7.4% make a huge difference in a potential win, lose, or draw situation. So on the ball with their feet, Raya, I think we can all agree, as much as you might love Ramsdale, Raya is objectively better on the ball than Ramsdale. Even if it's by a little bit, I think you can agree that Raya is a better goalkeeper on the ball than Ramsdale. And to me, again, off the eye test, for me, Raya makes less mistakes, even though Raya still does have his fair few of mistakes. I mean, you think about the Man City one where Alvarez blocked it. It didn't go in the goal, but it could have easily done that. But I mean, modern day goalkeepers, regardless of how good you are on the ball, what team you play for, they are bound to make mistakes here and there. So I don't think, even when Ramsdale makes a mistake on the ball, I don't think it's the end of the world, because it's their job to play out from the back. It's a very high risk, high reward strategy that basically every team implements now. So I don't think you can really hold Raya or Ramsdale accountable when they get pressed when they're on the ball, unless it's just complete stupidity. Now, one thing I think we can all agree on is that Raya is far better at claiming set pieces, claiming crosses, whereas Ramsdale struggles more with high claims and just command in the box in general more than David Raya does. Raya is a very, very good leader in the box and is very good at commanding his defense. Outside of one or two moments, you think back to that time when we beat Liverpool 3-1, Raya made a mistake. He probably should have been more verbal with Saliba. But outside of one or two moments, Raya is very good at organizing the defense and being very commanding from the goal, which is a very important part of being a good goalkeeper and having a solid defense. None of us have to play in the Premier League to know how important it is to hear the goalkeeper talking behind you, so that your defense is a lot more solid and less mistakes are made. And to me, Raya is far better than Ramsdale at that. It's a very small part of goalkeeping that a lot of people overlook, but it has a huge impact on how the defense performs. Raya, to me, is objectively better than Ramsdale as a goalkeeper as a whole. Again, shot stopping, you could argue Ramsdale is better, but overall, for me, it's Raya. Although not by light years, he is better. And this past season has showed that these little things, like claiming set pieces, claiming crosses, being very commanding from your box, being very good at your passing, at your long balls, it makes a huge difference, and our defensive record has proven that. Raya also often puts out fires before they grow into becoming a shot or an opportunity for the opposition, whether that is coming out, claiming crosses, commanding his defense, or even coming out as a sweeper keeper, which statistically he is much better at than Aaron Ramsdale is. Listen, although it definitely does help to have one of, if not the best centre-back partnerships in the world in front of you, as well as having someone like Ben White on your right-hand side, David Raya still helps out massively when acting as a sweeper keeper, claiming crosses, or commanding the area. Look, at the end of the day, neither Raya nor Ramsdale are world-class keepers, and I don't think either of them will ever be world-class keepers. But with modern football relying more on tactics and systems and less reliance on individual brilliance, I don't think not having a world-class keeper is all that much of an issue like it would have been in the 2010s. And I think of playstyles purely, Raya is a perfect fit in our team and the way we want to play. So I'm sorry to David Raya for doubting you. I'm sorry to Arteta for doubting the transfer and Arsenal for doubting the transfer. And I'm so happy Arsenal have made a permanent move for David Raya for just £27 million, which to me is a very good price for arguably one of the better goalkeepers in the Premier League and a keeper coming off of a Golden Glove season in the Premier League. To me, it's a really good price tag to pay. Gone are the days when Arsenal have to worry about our goalkeepers. You think back to Petr Cech, where he just made error after error, and every time he had the ball by his feet, he got a little nervous. Gone are those days. We now have a goalkeeper who is very good at distribution, doesn't make too many errors, and is overall just a very good commanding goalkeeper that adds a lot of calmness to our defensive line. Raya is our number one, and rightfully so.